All right, you put out a tweet yesterday saying that this was one of the best ads that you'll ever see. I want to play the ad that you guys just put out, and let's talk about it. So let's play what you think is one of the best ads.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Everyday prices are too high. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes. That is called Bidenomics. A loaf of bread costs 50% more today. Ground beef is up almost 50%. There's not much left at the end of the month. Bidenomics is working. The price of housing has gone up. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. And we are very proud of Bidenomics.
All right. I love it because I've been preaching, let her talk about her. Why do you love this? And why do you think it's the best ad that we'll see?
I think I hope there might be other ads coming that top it, but I think right now this is the best one that I've seen so far. And I love it because, as you just said, it's in her own words. And it really illustrates exactly the kind of outrageous political maneuver that she's trying to pull off, where she's, disavowing all of these positions and all these things that she has said over the course of decades in some cases. And then through staff, she's just letting people know, oh, you know what? She doesn't believe those things anymore, which is crazy. And she doesn't address the media. But here it is when she is actually out talking about stuff directly contradicting. She's contradicting things that she had already said, or at least being critical of the things that she as a candidate has said. She is trying to run as an outsider, as though she is not the current vice president of the United States. And the media is giving her a pass on this. They're allowing her to pretend that she hasn't been in the room helping make all the decisions that led America down the path where we now find people in this country completely dissatisfied with where the country is. And she's out there acting like, oh, hey, I know, I'm with you folks. This is outrageous. These prices are so high. Hey, we want to remind people that it wasn't very long ago that she was bragging about the policies that have led to these high prices that she now complains about. And it's also done with whimsical music. It's lighthearted, yet it's a sledgehammer. I really think it's a very effective ad. It's better than one with ominous tones and ominous voices. It's kind of fun, but it also shows what a ridiculous, self-contradictory, terrible candidate she actually is.
Yeah, it doesn't come in and Kamala Harris is evil and bad. This is why. It's like,
now there's time and place for those things.
Right. You get brought into it. You're like, okay, what's she saying? It's funny though, but she's tying it to Bidenomics, and that was the only thing that I was like, it's like she's still. Like is the goal to say she's just Joe Biden light, or what do you want the takeaway to be? That she is the same thing as Joe Biden, or that she's like a crazy leftist?
Well, she can't run from the policies. Everyone is dissatisfied. Most Americans, the huge majority of Americans, think that the United States of America is on the wrong track. They're not happy with the country. They're not happy with the strife within the country. They're not happy with a world on fire. They're not happy with an open border. They're not happy with sky-high inflation. They're not happy with crime in the streets. Not happy with any of that. And here comes Kamala Harris saying, hey, I'm with you. Boy, the people who did these I'm a fresh way forward. I'm a new start. No, you're not. You're part of the guard who gave us these problems. And when she goes out on the campaign trail and has the nerve to complain about high prices and say, we got to do something about this, you're the one who did that in the first place. She cannot be allowed to run as though she was not part of the crew that made these problems exist for Americans in the first place. This is a reminder of that, and it's actually sort of gently done, and that it's like, what you call it, hit him with the velvet glove, I guess is what it is. Yeah.
You remember back when gas prices were really high and people were putting stickers on the pumps that they were like a Biden, and he had a finger up and he said, I did this. Yeah. Like, I feel like it's almost like that's that equivalent of the ad. Like I supported Bidenomics. Like she's inherently part of the team.
Oh, certainly. She's definitely part of the team. And they have branded the whole thing since day one as the Biden-Harris administration. Right. And now she's trying to run away from it and, carve her own path and be her own person. No. Biden made her point person on many of these things that have been abysmal failures. She also spends a lot of energy running around trying to tell people that was not my responsibility. Rather, staff. Right. Staff does that. She doesn't herself do any of these things.
She cherry picks which parts of the Biden administration she's part of.
Insane.
When I woke up this morning, there was a headline, and this is Axios, not The Onion. Okay, honest to God, if you could ask someone, tell me what you think, and I think more people would view what I'm about to read you from that satirical outlet, The Onion, than Axios, which is left-leaning, but supposed to be a normal. Okay, this is the quote from Axios. If she's elected president, Kamala Harris pledges to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on the wall along the southern border, a project she once opposed and called un-American during the Trump administration. Tim, are you concerned that later today she's going to roll out a red hat that says our new slogan is Make America Great Again?
Yeah, I mean, they are doing all these things, and the media just keeps falling over. The Rolling Stone, the Axios thing is amazing because now she's in support of the border wall, which, was the sign. The border wall.
She's tough on the border.
Yeah. Well, oh, sure. But at the same time, don't you dare ever call her the border czar.
I know.
The border wall was definitive proof, if you were a Democrat, and a far left Democrat especially, which is what Kamala Harris is, regardless of what she says today, that's what she is. The fact that Donald Trump wanted to build a wall between the United States and Mexico was definitive proof for Democrats that Donald Trump was an evil man. Evil. That's really was the wall, was really what it was, like a glimpse into his character. The fact that he wants to build this border wall. Well, now she wants to build it too. So honest to God, what are we to ever believe? And so it just really is insane. And I mentioned Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone had a tweet last week where they talked about Tim Walz and the fact that Tim Walz is running around wearing a camouflage baseball cap, and that the campaign is now selling camouflage baseball caps on their campaign merch website. Rolling Stone called it a genius piece of campaign merch, a camouflage hat. Sean, how many campaigns have you been involved in over the course of decades, and how many times have you seen Republican candidates selling camouflage gear? How many?
Well, not just that. I know our time is tight, so I can't stop and do this. On the shelf over to my right here, I've got Make America Great hats in red, white, and camo.
Camo. Mm-hmm.
From 2016, by the way. They're collector's editions. I may have to give one away at some point because my wife keeps telling me I have too much. She doesn't call it merch and swag. There's another word she uses. But I mean, again, to your point, it's like, wait a second. That song is 8 years old, and yet you guys are just remixing it and calling it new.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy what the media is going to give them credit for. Politico Playbook has an item this morning, and it's been 37 days, 38 days, something like that, since Kamala Harris became the presumed Democratic nominee, and she still hasn't sat down for an interview yet. And rather than be outraged about this, Playbook, which is the daily morning email that goes out from Politico, one of the Beltway rags here in Washington, D.C., in this area, instead of describing it as an outrage that she has been hiding from the media for more than 5 weeks, instead they treated it like it's this piece of great intrigue. Who is she going to talk to? And these are the names, then these are the shows, and these are the networks. These are all possibilities. Will she be by herself? Will she have Tim Walz with her? Ooh, who's to know? Oh, how exciting. This is the way they described it. Instead of being furious, it has been more than 5 weeks since the Democratic Party's candidate for president has been the actual candidate for president, and she has yet to sit for an interview. And Politico thinks it's neat to talk about.
Well,
it's
by
outrageous.
The way, just as a reminder for everyone, Eugene Daniels, who is one of the authors of Playbook that you meant, is basically doubles as a Kamala Harris spokesperson. So and here's the kicker, by the way. He is the brand new president of the White House Correspondents Association. So while he's supposed to be advocating for the media, he's also kind of doing the bidding of the Harris campaign. You went down that rabbit hole, so let's go down it for a second. Let's just play this out. She said that she would schedule, keyword there, an interview by the end of the month. By my watch, right. Today's the 27th. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. There's 31, so she's got 4. Does she actually do an interview by the end of the month, or does she announce a scheduled interview by the end of the month? Does it actually happen?
I think it's much more likely because of the way that it was framed in the first place. I bet you it's more likely that they simply announced that something has been scheduled by the end of the month. But here's what's going on now. I just thought of this, Sean, since you're talking about it. And since I mentioned that Politico was talking about who's going to get it, what outlet, what anchors and all that stuff, all of these networks, CNN, NBC, ABC, all of them, they all want to be first. They all want to get, so they are not going to be making trouble for themselves by being critical of her for failing to do an interview to this point, because they want to stay on the list.
Yes.
They want to stay in the running. So they will give her as much leash as they feel they need to, so that it doesn't ruin their own chances to be first. Second. All of it. Or second. It's all corruption. And Politico also reported that the Harris campaign is asking journalists who should go first.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Unbelievable.
That line. Tim, I totally forgot that. When I read it this morning, I thought to myself, I got to bring this up. You did it. Just so we underscore this for the audience, Politico said their campaign, the Harris campaign, is calling reporters to ask the reporters what they think they should do, who they think they should do the interview with. That's insane.
Yeah, right. And all of these reporters will probably say, well, my publication, of course. And then that keeps them in line. They won't be critical of Harris because they still want to go first. How long can they string this out?
All right,
so it's already been 5 weeks. Why not 6 or 8 weeks? And I don't know if you're keeping track at home, but 8 weeks means 2 months. 2 months.
Okay, so stop for a second. Let's pause. I want to break this down.
Right.
Here's the thing. You and me care about this. I think the party of democracy should care about interacting with the media. I think the media should care about democracy being under attack and the fact. But here's the question I want to ask you. Honest to God, truth serum injected in your veins. Does anyone outside of people like me and you actually care about this, or people that are supportive of Donald Trump? We think this is an outrage. We think this is ridiculous. But does the average voter in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Wisconsin, honest to God, do you think that they go, gosh, it's been 5 weeks and Kamala Harris hasn't done an interview?
Well, I think people do care if you make them aware of the fact that she is hiding. I think once people learn that, then yeah, they do care. But you have to, I think that means an effort on our side to get that word out. Now think about it, how the media likes to couch these things. If we go back to every time the Iowa caucuses approach, or New Hampshire, for the New Hampshire primaries, when it's a presidential primary time, the news media always likes to say, wow, the people in Iowa and the voters in New Hampshire, they need to look candidates in the face. They need to shake hands with the candidate and make a measure of the person just by sizing them up right when they're right in front of them, right? They always talk about the interpersonal, how everything goes along. Now, when Kamala Harris is doing nothing but trying to hide behind a podium and never do anything and not meet real people or journalists, all of the media is like, wow, what a strategy this is. This is amazing. But previously, they would tell you how important the personal touch is, or how important it is to actually get down from off the stage, right? Now they think it's masterful. So It really is all a matter of who does it benefit? Who does the strategy benefit? If it's working for Kamala Harris in their view, then they will encourage her to keep up with it. Sure, they all want to be the first one to conduct the interview, but that's all they care about. They don't care about her coming forward and actually explaining how it is. How is she going to explain to the people of Pennsylvania that she supports fracking when she does not? She never has, and she doesn't today. Let's see her explain to the people of Pennsylvania how she does support getting natural gas up out of the ground in Pennsylvania, because she does not. She won't be able to do it convincingly because she's never believed it, not even right now.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.